Good evening. This is Charity, and we are at a farmers media, the best media in East Africa, and we connect, learn, and grow with farmers. Today we have a guest. If he may introduce himself.
Good afternoon. My name is Malik Merew. I'm the Acting Director of Administration, the Department of Agriculture, Livestock, Irrigation, and Fisheries, Kajiado County.
Agriculture master himself. And now I have two questions for you.
Yes.
Now the first question is, now that you have this project ongoing, have you partnered with FAO? What if they disconnect themselves from you, from your project, and will this project be a long term or will just end from them?
Oh, beautiful. The project is actually, it's called, it's dubbed the Livestock Feed Commercialization project. And for the longest time, we've been trying as a department to seek for solutions, long-term solutions that shall enable us deal, rather mitigate the climate change crisis in terms of sustaining our livestock in times of drought. And not just in terms of drought, but also in times when the rain is still coming as intermittent as it has been. So our experts, our livestock experts, including also it's a national and even an international kind of approach, where we agreed that for livestock to do well, then the feed has to be predictable. The feed availability has to be there, has to be predictable and has to be constant, because usually the curves that are there, you find that when rains are good, the production is good, animals are good, everything is good, and then all of a sudden there's milk, and there's adequate beef in the market. Because for Kajiado County, our priority value chains is beef and cow milk or dairy. So you find when times are good, then things are fine, then all of a sudden rains fail. Once rains fail, then you realize then we are unable to meet the demand for beef. We are unable to meet the demand for milk. And just a point to note is Kajiado milk is really sought after, even by the major processors, because of its high fat content, amongst other nutritional values. So we agreed and we decided to adopt the approach of looking at pasture commercially. This is to encourage our pastoralists and our farmers that pasture could also be hopefully a crop one day. Pasture is actually viable to grow commercially, so that it kills two birds with one stone. One, incomes are strengthened and are diversified. And also the income streams are diversified. Then also there's feed for our livestock constantly across the year. And so the livestock commercialization feed commercialization project then just seeks to sensitize our farmers on the various industry practices regarding the production and conservation of pasture. It also introduces varieties, new varieties of grass species or fodder species that have been seen or have been found by our researchers to be very beneficial to our livestock. Yes. So you asked whether, when this project ends, whether that will be the end of it, or rather when after FAO disengages, then that will be the end of it. No. Moving on forward, we want to thank our leadership of the department, and actually starting from the top, from the governor himself, His Excellency Joseph Lulilenku, because as one of his flagship projects, even when he was elected the last term, hay production was a key pillar of his intended investment in the livestock sector. Our CEC, or Waziri wa Kilimo, Madam Jacqueline Coin, has also been very, very vocal on the issues of having strategic feed reserves for farmers, and also changing the culture of pastoralism to also mix it with free range, and also have some, things like storage structures like hay barns and mechanisms that ensure that when things are tough, there's still something to fall back on in terms of livestock feed. So, as a department, policy-wise, we have made a lot of investments in that direction. We have looked towards improving the markets, livestock markets. We have looked towards establishing agriculture training centers to impart knowledge to our farmers. We have an act in place, the Kajiado County Agriculture Mechanization Services Act for 2019. That 2019, 2020, I'm not sure, but somewhere there. That enables our department to thus attract investment towards the mechanization of agriculture. When you talk pasture, you cannot talk pasture without talking rangeland rehabilitation. And rangeland rehabilitation then squarely depends heavily on heavy machinery and equipment. So it's a whole, it's a whole setup of very diverse things that interconnect towards ensuring stability in the livestock sector. So I can guarantee you, without any iota of a doubt, is that the project will continue. It may take a different face or shape, but the knowledge that shall be imparted to our farmers shall be here to stay. The knowledge that has been imparted to our technical officers is here to stay. We can only improve it. We can only improve it. And that we're going to do. God willing. Yes.
Now the other question was about policy, but you've answered it.
Yes.
Now that this is a semi-arid county,
yes.
When you started the project, were you expecting to be rain-fed, or you had your own ways of irrigation to cater for the...
Ideally, the rangelands here have been sustained by rain over the years. Pastoralism is purely and heavily dependent on rainfall. But we began by saying that the patterns have been erratic. The rain patterns have been erratic, and that then calls for a different approach to how we sustain our herds. And when you talk commercialization, you bring in the aspect of profit. You bring in the aspect of risk, being able to take risk. No one enters business thinking that everything is going to be okay. There is a level of risk-taking, and there is also a level of investment. So what we're doing is actually, the key thing is business education. The farmers are exposed to business education or financial literacy and things like that, and investment. Then we try and beat the rain by saying farmers can be encouraged, and also the county government has made plans to invest in water structures, water conservation structures, like shallow ponds, or what we call water ponds. There are natural occurring ponds that are called silanges that could be improved. And there's also, going back to policy again, there's an act, a water conservation, Kajiado County Water Conservation Act, that ensures, or rather stipulates, that every building set up after that act was passed, was consented to, requires to have water harvesting equipment, the gutters and all that, and even tanks. All in trying to solve the water issue, because you solve water, you will solve feed. You solve feed, then you're able to give our farmers an extra income line. So it's business. Unlike we know how business is.
No.
It could go up, it could go down, you could go into profits, you could go into losses, but you will never know your potential until you try. So,
now talking about business,
yes.
they say there is money in grass. Now in this project, where do you see that point, money in grass?
The crisis that has just is still ongoing. The crisis, the drought crisis in Kajiado is still ongoing. This is January 2023. It is still ongoing. Things are thick. The animals, our livestock, are much better than they were last month or the month before, but things are still not good. But then again, our herds have been sustained by pasture imported from other counties. Okay? And for the longest time, like 2-3 months going back, we have seen queues and queues of lorries laden with hay and you know, pasture harvest from other counties that have been making a beeline to Kajiado County. The amounts of the money that has been spent by our pastoralists and our farmers in acquiring this pasture is beyond comprehension. It's a lot of money. The losses they have gone, our farmers have gone into, and our pastoralists are: one, they have lost livestock; two, they have emptied their coffers, their pockets, through purchasing pasture, or rather hay from outside, from other counties. So the question begs, we have the land, we have the know-how. What is stopping us from harvesting our hay or the pasture that freely occurs in our rangelands and store it for purposes of having something to fall back on when the rains fall? So people have seen, actually previously, people who thought that there's no money in pasture, they have seen it. All those canters that have come, hundreds and hundreds of lorries every day making their way to Kajiado County. So people have seen that actually we can keep money back in our pockets by conserving pasture and, you know, storing it for tough times ahead.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah.
And for more interviews and show and education about farming, please join us in our all media platforms as a Farmers Media and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
This is
a farmers media.
a Farmers Media.
We tell you the stories of African farmers.
Good evening, my name is Charity and this is a Farmers Media, the best media in East Africa. And we connect, learn and grow with farmers. And today we have a guest, and he may introduce himself.
Good afternoon, my name is Eric Kaenda and I'm the County Director of Livestock Production, Kajiado County. Yes.
Nice. Now that this project has partnered with FAO, will it continue after this partnership ends?
No, it would continue because if the entry of FAO, they found the department already working on how to establish some livestock feed reserves. And so it is an activity that was ongoing. FAO are just coming into as a partner so that we can continue working with them in the same in whatever that had already been started.
Okay.
Yes.
What are the policies that are used in this project?
I'll start by saying that first of all, Kajiado County is an semi-arid county, and the major economic activity here is livestock keeping, and this economic activity is normally faced by a number of challenges, and the major one being the global climatic changes that has adversely affected the sector, the livestock sector. And therefore, you'll find that as a result of those effects of climatic changes, it has made the the pastoral community to be migrating with their animals seasonally when during the dry period, the dry times. And this migration is surely in search for pastures and to an extent water. So it means that Kajiado County has got a deficit in livestock feed, and therefore there was need to come up with ways of trying to address those challenges, and this prompted the county to start activities geared towards ensuring that we have adequate livestock feed. There are some policies that we are coming up with that will act as guidelines in ensuring livestock feed security in the county. At the moment, we are working on Kajiado County livestock feed strategy. It's still in a draft form, and I know that once we are through with that document, it will be a basis of even talking to partners and see how we can be able to partner to ensure that we have adequate livestock feed in the county, and not only adequate but even surplus that can be sold within the county or even outside to other counties, and probably maybe even to export. Why not? And so that document is really important. We are also having working on another document that is still in draft form, and this is the Kajiado County Livestock Strategic Plan. So this looks at all the value chains within the livestock sector, and it tries to address issues on how we can be able to enhance production and productivity. Yes.
Now that you've said this is a semi-arid area, and there are moments where you find there is long dry period, and what's your take in this project?
At a very opportune time, because when we ensure that we are producing our own livestock feed, we will have addressed many other challenges that come that we face during the drought times. For example, I'm sure you've seen that ever since this drought spell began, or as it progresses, many entrepreneurs have been bringing in materials to be used by livestock farmers for feeding their animals. But some of these materials are substandard, of very low quality, and some of it even are now turning into dangerous stuff to feed our animals on, because they have some toxins in it. Then the other challenge that this will also address is the fact that when you source your livestock food from outside the county, more so the hay, there's a tendency that this hay may come with some contaminants within in it, and contaminants I'm talking about, it may carry with it some pests like ticks that are known to affect the animals. Some of them may be coming from areas that are disease prone, and therefore it may lead to now spread of some livestock disease in the county. But now with this project, the county, the livestock keepers within Kajiado County will be able now to produce their own fodder, their own pasture, will ensure quality, and will also, and apart from quality, they will also introduce a component of commercialization, and therefore this now will become another separate livelihood, not livelihood, but a value chain of importance to the county.
Now, another question, the last question. In your position in the government, what are your plans to improve the pasture production?
Actually, whatever we can do, we have already started, and the future plans are just to upscale. And this will be done from a number of fronts. One is that for us to be able to upscale livestock feed production in the county, we need to capacity build our farms, so that they can increase the acreage of livestock feed production. They'll also be capacity built on mechanizing pasture production. and conservation. And finally, they also have to be trained on how to, on entrepreneurial skills to assist them to commercialize, so that they also take pasture production as a viable commercial activity. Yes.
Oh, nice. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so
And
much.
for more interviews and shows, you can follow us on the social media platforms and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Farmers Media. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Sheila Uchiboju. I'm the Executive Director of the Alliance for Science, and you're watching A Farmers Media. Sama Ganon.
Welcome back to Farmers Media. Your host, Noah Nasiali Kadima. Today is a beautiful day, a wonderful day. I have very good news for you who are watching. Remember, this is a Farmers Media where we help you connect, learn, and grow. And today we want to talk about some of the challenges that we have been facing as a country, but more importantly, those of us who are farming, who are practicing farming in the ASAL areas, in the arid and semi-arid areas. The challenges that we've faced with the drought, loss of water, we're hearing boreholes drying. These challenges are enormous, and we want to see how best we can be able to solve these challenges with some of our partners. Remember to follow us on our social media handles at Farmers Media. Today it is pasture commercialization, and we will be having a guest who will tell us much more about what does it mean for pasture commercialization. I have some goodies here, which we'll be talking about them later on in the show. But first of all, let us know where you are watching and listening to us from, and we will be talking to you who has any, a cow, a sheep, a goat. We want to see how best can we do that, especially those of us in County 034. Again, this is a Farmer's Breakfast Show right here from County 034. What we are doing today is that we want to talk about what are the challenges. But before talking about the challenges, those who know me, I don't focus on challenges only. I want to see what is happening out there in terms of weather. If you look at what the weather is giving us today, we want to see, I don't know if our producer has the weather up. Let us see if we can be able to have that, the link for the weather. We want to see what is the weather like out there. It has been a challenge. It has been really hot. And we want that particular aspect of when it is hot, what do you grow? When it is hot, how much water do you need to use? How do you train your crops to be able to do this? Again, as we do this, let us see what the weather is like. And yes, interestingly, we are talking about the different weather patterns that are out here. But most importantly, I want to ask somebody, if you're watching us from Mombasa, how is it like? Okay, interesting. So in Nairobi, we have sunny intervals, highs of 25 and lows of 14. Mombasa is extremely hot, highs of 32 and lows of 25. Nyeri, highs of 26 and lows of 10. Really quite a big challenge. Marsabit, one of my favorite counties, maximum of highs of 27. We have the same cutting across. Actually, Garissa is hot. Garissa, Lamu, Lodwar, we are Malindi, Makindu, we are Mandera, Moyale, we are talking highs of, as well as Voi, Wajir. We're talking highs of 36 and lows of 20, 22 there. We have Kericho, highs of 26 and lows of 11. Kamakawaida, Kitui is extremely hot, highs of, we have sunny intervals. Machakos, by neighboring county, is highs of 26 and lows of 13. Again, when you look at the different weather patterns that are out there, always make sure that you are aligning together with your farming activities. Using one of our favorite apps is called Plantix, where it gives you the recommendations of what farming activity coincides with your weather pattern for that particular day. Very interesting. Again, as you're watching us, we want to see, and you can see clearly, the weather does not favor farmers per se, but you can be able to go around it, training crops on what to grow, how to grow, quantity of water. Remember, even somebody who runs 42 kilometers does not drink 10 liters of water in the race. So you can be able to train your crops to be able to know, to make sure. Again, that we also have water preservatives that are out there, which we'll be talking about in the course of this week. So today we want to talk about pasture commercialization. But what is pasture commercialization? As you have been seeing, farmers in ASAL areas have lost. Some have lost their livelihoods. I know one of my friends who's just not far from my farm in Kajiado, lost 110 goats in less than 2 months. He says that it was really sad to see what was happening. There's nothing much should have done. It had dried. There was no grass. We were seeing wild animals dying. We saw invasion of elephants in raiding farms because of, again, pasture had dried up. But where did it start hitting us? When did this start hitting us? And we have to really make sure that it is very clear why this happened to us. And we'll be sharing an African proverb later on, which will actually help us to understand what can we do differently this time round so that we're not caught in the same mix. Again, there's a lot of mix-up. There's a lot of, can I say, some confusion that was out there, because we see there's a lot of pasture coming all the way from Nyandarua, Nyahururu, Meru. You know, we are seeing a lot of hay, Narok as well, hay, a lot of silage coming in. But the challenges that we are facing is that we don't know. We want to ask ourselves, where did this hay come from? Where did it come from? Where did this silage come from? You know, I was talking to one of my good friends, also a mentor in the industry, is called Fred Obachi Machoka, and he told me he has planned in advance. You know, he has planned in advance. I went for a visit, and one of the farmers in Kajiado County, with a good friend of mine called Sayanka Ntore, who we'll be talking to in the course of this week about the importance of pasture commercialization, why it is important, especially in Kajiado County and other ASAL areas, to be able to grow the same food. Again, remember, this show today is actually in partnership with Kajiado County Government and Action Africa Help International, who have actually partnered together with Kenya office to be able to know how can we be able to train farmers to be able to grow fodder, to grow pasture, and commercialize it. Remember, what we are doing is that we are not saying that we cannot grow any other crops like cabbages and the rest, but how can we grow crops so that we can preserve the livestock, the bread and butter of our county, of the county of Kajiado County, is actually lives, and we'll be able to make sure that we are not going into the same kind of losses. Again, this is something very critical for our nation, as well as seeing how can we be able to do this in other counties that are affected with the same kind of weather patterns. Remember, again, as I mentioned earlier, this is a Farmer's Breakfast Show, your host, Noah Nasiali Kadima. And before we go for a break, I want to ask, let us know in your comment section, have you ever grown crops? Are you a livestock keeper? If you are, let us know what have you been feeding on? And if you had any losses, share with us so that we can be able to see how best we can be able to come, all of us together. Again, this is a Farmer's Breakfast Show, and we'll be going for a short break. And when we come back, we will have our guest who will be telling us much more about what this is all about, what it is all about, how do we diversify from what we have always been growing? How do we make sure that we are actually making money by growing pasture? This is a Farmer's Media.
Agriculture is the art and science of cultivating the soil, growing crops, and raising livestock. Agriculture provides most of the world's food and fabrics. It is not only a source of food and income, but also creates employment opportunities for many people in the world. Over 1 billion people worldwide work in agriculture, generating 2.4 trillion for the global economy. The global impact of farming on the environment is revealed that 40% of the Earth's land is now given over to agriculture. Agricultural development is one of the most powerful tools to end extreme poverty, boost shared prosperity, and feed a projected 9.7 billion people by 2050. And we, the Our Farmers Media, roll the carpet for you as we welcome you to our thrilling farm visits to different farmers that educate and inspire you in different sectors in agriculture. Catch us also on our shows on all our social media platforms as we bring you educative and informative information that will help you learn and guide you on your agriculture journey to success. Our farmers attain knowledge and grow profits.
Welcome back to a Farmer's Breakfast Show right here from County 034. And as we talked about early in the morning, what we are discussing today is a matter of livestock, but not just livestock, but also livelihoods of farmers across the ASAL areas. Livestock has been affected, livelihoods have been affected. We are actually in a dire situation. We have been asking ourselves hard questions. Why is it that livestock is dying? You know, where did it start hitting us? But even before that, we want to ask ourselves, we are seeing a lot of crops being grown in the ASAL areas, but how do we convert that to make sure that the livestock farmers are benefiting? Over the recent past, the last few months, we have actually seen farmers who have lost their livelihoods, entire livelihoods. Not these things of losing a cabbage this season, no. Losing 110, 75 cows, you know, that is really devastating. And today, as I mentioned earlier, we have a guest who will be talking to about what these challenges are. But before that, we have our traffic updates, courtesy of Mathri Route, and we are seeing that there's an accident 21 minutes ago. We have an accident on the expressway, and traffic is actually building up on the expressway, Trust Kenya. And then there's also traffic on Thika Road, kama kawaida. And then Thika Road is tight on sama imeshikana lakini inasonga. We are seeing Karen from Karen Ngong Road is heavy, but moving, really heavy. And let us know if you have any incidences that you are reporting. We'll be doing this once again. Remember, this is courtesy of Mathri Route, giving us much more about how can we be able to make sure that we have this particular updates for you to be able to see. Again, I want to introduce my guest. I want him to introduce himself. Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
Yes, so you can just let us know who you are and why are you doing what you're doing.
Yeah, thank you very much for the opportunity to come and talk to you and other farmers. My name is Mika Mitogo. I work with an organization called Action Africa Health International, working around functions around Africa Health International exists to serve various marginalized or underserved communities. We've had work with refugees in Turkana and many other areas, and that's in Kenya only. And we've worked for a very long time with the pastoralist communities and a lot of urban, what we call the urban underserved or urban poor. We are an African-led NGO, and our solutions are designed for Africans. So it's more of what does the community want. Our slogan is, we are passionate about communities. And so our role and our work in the 8 countries we exist and growing is really community development. And you might want to ask me what community development is. So we approach it various ways, but mostly it has to be user-centered. The communities we work with, they actually have to be the ones to drive their own agenda, and we work as a facilitator towards reaching some certain development milestones. So you will find us working around, let's say, adult literacy in areas where there is low literacy levels. You'll find us working around livestock and livelihoods improvement, where there is issues related to certain value chains, such as in Narok, where we worked with a number of cooperatives to improve their breeds, improve their governance, as well as just institute or introduce certain strategies that help them adapt to the climate change. We've also worked a lot around governance, ensuring that our youth in the wards and in the sub-counties understand the whole budget-making process. And why this is important for us is because the nature of our work is not, it does not last like in perpetuity. We go around certain donor cycles, and it's important that our communities understand how to plug into various constitutional mechanisms so that they can be able to actually benefit directly from their own leaders. Our work in Turkana, and I'm just talking about Kenya now, we obviously have a lot of work to do, but our work in Turkana has been with the refugee and the host community, again, looking at what business and entrepreneurship activities can be promoted, what value chains can we promote, especially the agriculture and livestock subsector in particular, looking at poultry, fish farming, and any other vegetable and horticulture farming in those particular areas. And so we work just to improve different areas of the value chain to ensure that from production to market, it's sustainable in a way that can serve both the farmers and any other businesses in between. Yeah, that's in summary. There's much more we do, but I think that's a good introduction.
My friend, if that is a summary, I don't know. Brilliant, brilliant. Thank you. That's really good what you're doing. Really commendable, and that's one of the reasons why we say it as a farmers media. We'd like to be part of this. But one of the things that I want to ask you, because you have seen it all, you've seen the challenges. I remember we've done some visits with you. What was going through your mind when you saw animals dying, animals dead, the stench of the animals? What was going through your mind, especially you as Mika and Action Africa? What was going through your mind?
It's a sad state of affairs. I know it's not something new to us, and that's why we do what we do. But you can imagine the livelihoods that have been disrupted, livelihoods eroded, people having to start from scratch from an activity that is their bread and butter, something that they have known to do for the years. They've picked it up from their forefathers and whatnot. And them having to look and stare at those losses and stare at those, you know, my director jokes that with the communities who work with the Maasai and the Turkana, livestock is like a household member.
Yes.
So you can imagine, you seeing, it's a cute sentiment, but you can imagine that a member of your household is dying because there's not enough food to eat. So you kind of empathize and feel that pain when you see that, and that's why we are always looking for opportunities to work around improving certain value chains or certain practices so that even these communities can adapt to the climate change.
Yeah, and why this is important, and why I was asking that question is because some of the farmers have lost their entire livelihood. They've lost the inherited livestock. They've lost all the challenges all the animals that they had. You can imagine if you are to lose not just the crops but also the land.
Yeah.
For them, that is what it means. we've talked in detail, and I think today, starting off with the planning and knowing how this is going to go around, what do you think is lacking in the particular this industry, especially the pasture area, considering we have seen a lot of silage, a lot of produce coming from other parts of the country? Why did you pick Kajiado as one of the places where you'd like to commercialize pasture?
Yeah, good question. It's both us wanting to come and work with the community in Kajiado, but also us having gotten some positive response from the UN FAO, who are also supported by Mastercard Foundation, who are keen to kind of protect and improve the livelihoods of the communities that are in Kajiado County. For us as an organization, it's always been a strategic interest to work with, like I mentioned earlier, marginalized or underserved communities. And the pastoralists are one key target or key group for us to work in. And so this project coincides with part of our long-term strategy to actually come into Kajiado the way we've done in Narok and Turkana. So it fits the profile of what we want to do with regards to community development. So aside from just executing this FAO-funded project, we'll also be making a lot of forays in the community, having barazas with various villages, community members in different areas, and trying to understand what are their development needs, and then tailor solutions that are suited to those development needs. Whether it will be agriculture and livestock, well and good. Whether it will be business and entrepreneurship, we will respond the same way. Whether it's governance issues, we will respond appropriately. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. So one of the things that I wanted to capture, again, just like a repeat of the same question that I've asked you, but we have seen livestock dying. The local community is used to grazing land, and I know we'll talk about that later in the show in terms of what that affects carbon emissions as well. But now, as we discuss this, they're used to grazing and the animals going to walk, if I can say. How do you think what approach are you going to take to make sure that now they can be able to keep the animals without having to let the animals graze all over?
Yeah, interesting. And I might not say I have all the answers at once. And that's why we're in a partnership with you and the county government, who I hope will be joining us soon. Just to bring, and any other stakeholders that are working in the area, to bring all these ideas. Whatever might work in theory might not actually work on the ground. So we are very keen to ensure that we adopt a learning attitude. And therefore, I might not give you all the answers now, but I will tell you for a fact that we are very focused on kind of a market or business development for this particular livestock value chain. And so we are starting from production, because not many people think about food first when you go into keeping animals. I'm one of them. I'm one of them. So you'll find we'll start keeping goats or chickens, but we'll not have figured out where are we getting the food first.
And then somebody calls you from the farm like, hey, boss, hakuna chakula.
Hakuna chakula. So and you see, we have to also realize that we cannot keep relying on the weather.
Exactly.
The weather has changed so much. Like if we are still doing that, then we just need to wake up a bit and look for other strategies to actually either modernize your production or just innovate around climate smart agriculture or climate smart technologies. So their strategy or their approach for this project is really a commercial one, and we want to work with farmers to produce pasture and ensure that it's affordable to the market, now the livestock growers. So we've seen a lot of, and it's not bad to import hay anyway, but we've seen a lot of opportunities for the youth here and even the farmers here in Kajiado in growing that hay or in growing feed and selling it here at affordable prices for the farmers and make a profit.
Now, but there's something that you mentioned there, the last bit of it, which I really caught my attention, is that there's going to be a supply and there's going to be a demand and supply. Because the livestock, even you as a farmer who's keeping livestock and you're also growing pasture, you're already your first customer.
Exactly.
So it's a direct market. And I remember I remember as I was mentioning to you earlier, I was asked a question: why are we growing the same cabbages that is being grown in Nyeri? So that's a very interesting thing, and it's really commendable what you're doing. What I wanted to ask, and I know we have just started, and we might not even know, why did you guys take like a human-centered kind of approach of let us go first to the farmers, understand what their needs are, build from there, get a solution, work with the same farmers as well? Why do you think some organizations fail? Because we have seen a lot of produce being brought, a lot of, solutions meant for farmers in Kajiado, the ASAL areas. Why is it that you guys opted to do that, to go that direction?
I mean, we've learned a lot, and I think a lot of our peers are also adopting similar approaches with regards to ensuring that we design for our users, and in this case, our farmers. And why that's important, even if we are to quote a number of the SDG goals, is that we want these initiatives and these interventions to be sustainable. For example, the donor funding landscape of many years ago is not the same today, and there's a lot of dwindling resources or dwindling finances. Every year you hear cuts, even our own revenues or our own budgets as even a country. Every year there's always a deficit. So you can imagine the same trend is happening with all the calamities in the world. And therefore, if you do not start with the user from the start, you'll end up probably wasting money, you'll end up being inefficient, and you'll end up with probably a solution that's not contextualized or does not fit the particular community you work with. So it becomes cost-effective, efficient, sustainable, and even just the whole dignity aspect of ensuring that the people you're actually working with, you're working for them or you're serving them, and not you trying to push a certain product to them.
Exactly, and it becomes actually even easier, because now what happens is that then the product that they're going to have is something that they can actually use.
Yeah.
And apart from that, also it's something that it's I can say, what is it called? It's something that is benefiting them directly, both at a household level, and I hope we'll be joined by the county government director of livestock, who will expand that more. Now, one of the things that we have seen in the recent past, actually in Kajiado County, is that the livestock belongs to the men, but the milk belongs to the women. How are you going to work on this? Because definitely, once the livestock start getting the right feed at the right time, milk production will have increased. Yeah. What are you planning? Because it's a very thin line between having livestock and then the milk is going to the ladies. What do you think is that going to be to be a challenge in terms of households, knowing that the women are being empowered more in terms of having more money? Or
it's when you talk about culture, that's usually a very murky area and a thin line to know where to step.
Yes.
And it's good you brought the gender aspect, because that's part of really, this project is really very, very heavy on ensuring that we target youth and as well as women, ensuring that we have some sort of I don't know, I'd say it's equity of outcomes or equity of opportunities. That those two words still confuse me, but I'd like to learn more about them.
Yeah.
But going back to the cultural aspect, the reason why we work with these particular communities is to ensure that we also learn.
Okay.
And so as we see it in a talk show here today, I'll say the bare minimum of what I know.
Yes.
But once I go to the field and in 3 months, 6 months' time, I will come up with more information that will then benefit our certain stakeholders and networks, and even the show itself, if we happen to come back and share more what we've learned.
Yeah.
So we'll meet it as we meet it. We have local staff who can be able to help us navigate the cultural dynamics. And so we do not intend to disrupt the way of living, but we want to promote aspects related to gender, youth employment, and just ensuring that this peaceful cohesion and development happens in a sustainable way.
Very fantastic. And now, fantastic. For those who are watching us, remember we're discussing pasture commercialization, how we can be able to make sure that the livestock in the ASAL area, starting with Kajiado County, and then our guests will also tell us which other counties they are in and what else they're doing apart from that. If you have any questions, kindly share in the comment section. If you would like to be part of this campaign in terms of growing pasture, there's also a link that we have shared there. Get in touch with us on our social media platforms below here. You can be able to see. And remember, this campaign, as you can see on your screens right now, it has actually been sponsored by FAO, working together with Mastercard Foundation, and in partnership now with Action Africa Help International and Kajiado County. But most importantly, also, we are also coming in. And one of the things that we as a farmers media would like to really push it is to know that we are out here looking for how can we be able to best serve you, which organizations are actually taking care of you. We always say we have friends, and then we have friends who take care of our farmers. And one of the reasons, that is one of the reasons why we are actually part of this program. We'll be going to a short break. When we come back, we hope that we'll be able to have the county director of livestock joining us briefly to tell us much more about why this is important, why this is really core in the county government, and how it is being supported straight from the governor all the way to all the extension officers, agricultural officers who were saddened because they could not even support farmers when cows died, you know.
Yeah.
Yes, so interestingly, so we'll be going for a short break, and when we come back, but before we go for the short break, I have one proverb of the hour. It says, "Do not look where you feel, but where you slept." I'll tell you when you come back. We're going for a short break.
Farmers is the home of Africa Farmers Club, and by extension, African farmers. The whole idea behind farmers is to transform the image of an African farmer from a producer into an agripreneur, somebody who actually does not think about how to produce onions, but how much is going to be used to produce onions, and so that way then they can be able to transform their vision, they can be able to look at their farms as businesses, and they can be able to know when to engage with the market. What we have done is that we have developed a hub where farmers bring their information, bring their questions, their challenges, and other farmers are there to come out and help. Facebook has not just been instrumental, Facebook has been a working partner for myself as well. And Facebook has actually transformed the way we relate, an open platform. My background is in tech, and I know you cannot build a platform that can reach out to so many people. Initially, it was just a few farmers in 2 counties, Machakos County and Kajiado counties, but now it has transformed. We have a stronger membership from Nigeria and Zambia than even Kenya itself, you know. And the reason behind this is the messages I get from different farmers across Africa. Then something interesting came to my mind, and I thought about using the camera. Every time I visited farmers, I would be able to post in the community, in the group, in my own profile, and just share the story of the farmer that I visited. And then I asked myself, why wouldn't I get this information, develop it in a way that other people can be able to benefit? If we go for a training, how do we capture that so that those who are not, the farmers who are not able to come for that training can still benefit? And hence the birth of a farmers media. Our mission as an organization is to help farmers, African farmers, to attain knowledge and grow profits.
Welcome back again to a Farmer's Breakfast Show right here from County 034. And we are talking about how can we be able to make sure that we are satisfying the needs of our county, starting with what is core, what is the main business that happens in the county, which is livestock keeping, selling. But most importantly, we want to know how can we do it so that we have real good quality. And we have our guest, Mika Mitoko, who is from Action Africa Help International, and he's telling us much more about what they need, what they're doing, so that we can be able to understand much more. Mika, before we went for a break, you talked about why you're doing this as an organization. What I wanted to ask is, where did this start beating as a country? Because yes, drought is there. We knew that drought is there. We knew that livestock will die. Where did it start beating?
Interesting. I tend to think we are spoiled as Africans. And,
Let's move a bit closer to the mic.
I tend to think as Africans we are spoiled a bit. I say this with all humility and all intents and purposes. Because we've really enjoyed a lot of good weather for a long time. We've not had to look for new ways of doing things. And I think that complacency for many of us, I'm not saying all of us, but for many of us, could be one reason. I'm not blaming anybody and calling them lazy or anything. But you see, when something is working for a long period of time,
yes,
usually it's never in the mind to change it, or it's never in the mind to innovate around it. And so some of the changes in weather have really hit us very hard. Some of them have been very drastic. Poor rainfall for, I think, some areas are talking about 5 seasons.
Yes.
Where they really failed agriculture. And so it's really up to us as people, first of all, to kind of change our mindset and our thinking on how we do agriculture now.
Yes. Yes.
How we grow our livestock, how we keep our crops. And of course, look towards our county governments and the national government to develop the right policies, to create the right environment for innovation and funding, especially, to really come to the sector. We are still an agriculture-heavy, not organization, but country, and therefore I think that there needs to be a lot of priorities in ensuring that the field is kind of easy, for lack of a better word, for us to get back to where we were as a country. So I'd say that as one thing, and I think information, and I know we keep talking about extension services.
Yes.
I think a lot of our smallholder farmers are not really accessing that extension service or that extension information to make the right decisions. And so this one key component of this project is actually to ensure or support the county government perform or conduct extension services to the farmers. Whatever corner you are in Kajiado County, we will ensure that if and when you are registered in a project, you will get the required support from the technical people who are the extension workers.
Now, we have some questions here, which I will be sharing. One of the questions that is coming through is, what do I need to get this support?
First of all, just be willing. Willing to commit yourself for the project period. I know with the work we do, it's usually projects, but you see the idea of projects is to kickstart or catalyze something. So you need to be, first of all, committed and ready to commit your land to this activity. Whatever support you get would to help you start, probably in form of seedlings. In form of seeds, sorry, not seedlings. In form of seeds, and of course the extension services will be accorded to you, and Action Africa will then come in with business or market development support, where we now look at the commercialization aspect.
Okay.
You're producing, but how you access a market after that. And that's maybe something I need to mention, is that our smallholder farmers find it very difficult with regards to time, effort, and resources to produce and at the same time market. And all those things in between.
Now, there's something that you mentioned, and as we kept on talking, there's something that I kept on getting excited on, is that you're not just going to tell us to grow.
No.
It's not just about like the way we're told, grow for us cabbages or French beans for export. there's an aspect of it that really got me excited is you're going to help us as the farmers to know how to do it as a business.
Yes.
Please
exactly.
expound on that a bit more.
Yeah, so we have a cocktail of tools, or we have a toolkit of very many business development methodology and curricula
Yes.
that we've deployed in different areas.
Uh-huh.
We use, of course, FAO have their own tool called the Rural Invest.
Yes.
The ILO, who are very keen on decent work,
Mhm.
also have a tool around the start and improve your business.
Okay.
And for probably other communities, rural communities, there's what you call the gender and the entrepreneurship together.
Yes. Yes.
And so first of all, we have human resource in form of trainers, coaches, and we have a network of mentors who are in the same field who can actually provide insights and technical information on how to do business in
Yes.
general as a
Yes.
start.
Yes.
And of course, then we have the agribusiness and the agronomy experts who
Yes.
will be the county, among other specialists that we will engage in the project to kind of give now that technical input
Okay.
to these farmers we'll be working with. And so once we mix all that, we then have a responsibility to ensure that the farmers actually convert this production into cash.
Okay.
Ensuring that we negotiate maybe with large-scale farmers to actually buy the hay or the feed,
Yes.
see what areas, what markets exist for the feed. So somebody may be in the Livestock area, which is doing fairly well rainfall-wise, would then provide feed for somebody in, say, Kiseria, which is a bit dry than the Livestock area.
Yes.
So it's really up to us to look for those markets and make sure that as we promote, as we support you to produce, then we're also supporting you to sell, so that you don't get stuck with livestock, with the feed, and you don't get stuck with produce that you cannot actually get.
Yes, because that is one of the yes, exactly, and that is one of the challenges that we have seen in the agricultural sector, where actually one of the things that we are doing, and I would like to take this opportunity just to mention that we are also looking at the same option that you're saying, affordable transport and logistics services. But you see, unless there's ready market preparedness, and a farmer knows how to be able to even negotiate, because yes, definitely as we do this. There are those who we normally call them in English aggregators. I call them in my English brokers. They will come in and say they want to buy this product feed. You know, but one of the things that will happen, Mika, is that we'll also see the downside. And what are some of the risks that you've flagged already and say this might be a risk? What is this thing that would be a risk that you looked at?
Yeah.
Definitely.
I mean, and it's very key when we say that, first of all, you should be willing to commit to this venture. It's actually a venture, so it's a business. Because for me, in the work we do, one of the biggest risks is ownership. So I might have this very fancy talk show, for example, or even training activities, but as long as that ownership on the ground, on the farm, is not there, then I will not go anywhere. So it's important that I reach out and connect to these farmers on a personal level, on a way that they actually feel like it will benefit them. That would be number one. Number two, top of it, of course, for those who don't have certain infrastructure such as water for irrigation, then it would become a bit difficult for them if we are to rely on the rains.
Which has brought us where we are.
Which has brought us where we are. So that would be another risk, however much we have been positive about the March rainy season.
Yes.
That we know is a risk, and so we'll try and look at what options exist with individual farmers and see how, I don't know, we'll just see what to do with regards to water. But we're not promising anything, we're not going to do any water infrastructure.
Yes.
Because that's, and I don't want to put that there as a promise.
Yes.
But as we engage with the farmers directly, we'll look for options.
But I mean, so does that mean that you're also open to other partners? We might get an irrigation company that says, hey, we'd like to be part of this. Is that something that you are?
Yeah, ideally. And one thing with the way we work is we seek to strengthen systems, because we know we are not going to be there for forever. And at the end of the day, the community really is on to benefit. And so with our system strengthening approach, then you actually pull everybody in. And we are going to heavily support the county to kind of pull stakeholders together in Kajiado County.
Yes.
I know the director, once he comes, he will talk about his plans to bring in all stakeholders in the sector to just kind of contribute towards a singular or a unified feed strategy.
Yes.
And I'm sure he'll share more about that.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Which again, I think he must be in the building. But before that, as you can hear, you as a farmer, this is an opportunity. But we're not saying stop growing your cabbages and French beans and start doing this. It has to be done in a structured way. There's a form there's a link to a form where you would need to register. It is in the comment section, and you can send it. There are those of us who might not want to fill the form quickly. They want more information. Which number should they call, or how do they get to you to get this information?
yeah, I can give a hotline. You can even write it in the group, in the wall. 0738 44 44 22.
Okay.
I call it a hotline.
It is hot. Okay, so you can hear the number if you want more information before filling the form. Eventually, you'll have to fill the form. Huh? But if you want to fill, it is on the screens there, 0738 444422. Most importantly to know is that this is specifically first for Kajiado County. Which other counties, Mika, are you guys going to do the same thing?
Yeah, so this is still pilot phase, so we haven't set our sights on any other counties, but I can share confidently that the FAO is funding other organizations in Makueni, Taita Taveta, and I'm not sure whether it's Homa Bay, Siaya. There are 3 other counties in Western Kenya. I'm not so sure what they're doing, but I know Taita Taveta and Makueni are doing something similar to what we're doing. So you have BSEP in Makueni, and you have Calro in Taita Taveta.
So Action Africa Help International is in Kajiado County.
Is in Kajiado County.
Fantastic. So that is the number to call for Kajiado County. You need to be a farmer in Kajiado County.
You need to be a farmer.
So you need to know where your county is. Tell us where you are. Remember, and I can see some of the comments that are coming. But before that, we would like to share some of the photos and a short video of a visit that we did in December. We saw one of the farmers actually growing the same. I remember we saw sugar grapes, we saw some sun, some NutriFeed as well. So we would like to share. I don't know if our producer has the videos so that we can be able just to see even some of the pictures of a farm of a young man. There we are. Yes. This was a very interesting farm visit, courtesy of Sayang Kantore, who is in the organization. I've forgotten the Sayanka's organization. Yes, we will see if we can be able to get Sayanka on phone. So this is a young couple, Lewis and his wife, who are doing an amazing job. You know, on like a quarter of an acre, they're producing their own pasture. What he did is that he said that, which we will try and get him and get his video, is that it's a very interesting concept that he said, as we are discussing, Mika, in that before getting the animals, get the feed. You know, that's very interesting. Part of school fees, very interesting. And why this is important for him specifically is because his mother had started keeping livestock, you know. But halfway through the livestock, there was a challenge, and she lost all the livestock, dairy cows, you can imagine. But now you can see one thing that really impressed me is the way they're working together, especially as a family farm. You know, working together, both of them understanding why this is important, and we can see some of us trying to do this. This is not our strength, but we are slowly learning and getting to know how to do this. So we are not saying that you have to do all this machinery, no. But for those who are going to be the lead farmers, the anchor farmers, it will be important for you to tell us in the form that you'll be filling. What do you have? What machinery can you access within your locality? It could be from the county government. We've seen some of the machinery from ASDSP project. And definitely this is something that you can be able to be part of. We'd really love to see you part of this. We are going to take a short break, and then we will see if we cannot be able to get the county director. We will have him later on in the Jua Daktari Wako show, which will be talking much more about why this is important. We are taking a short break. We'll be right back. Remember, this is the Farmers Breakfast Show. elira nje ni Noana Siali Kadima ulolanga a Farmers Media. Welcome back to a Farmer's Breakfast Show right here from County 034. Today I'm joined by a guest who has been very passionate in making sure that pastoralists are actually getting their right need. Mika, for a long time we kept on criticizing our pastoralists, our farmers, telling them, you know, you can't stop keeping animals. How come we had not thought of how to help them, keep the animals better? I mean, that has just crossed my mind. Yeah. We kept on saying, you know, these guys are moving animals from here to here. How come? I mean, what made you guys think about this? Because I really want us to capture that. I have some comments that we'll be sharing in a few, but just let me know as I look for these comments as well.
I mean, that's a hard one. But based on trends and based on our experience in certain areas such as Narok, and the reason why we do the work the way we do
yes.
with regards to user-centered or community-centered
yes.
is what I mentioned earlier around the cultural aspect. One key lesson we learned,
yes.
hard, but it was very important for us to learn, is that when it comes to cultural considerations...
Yeah, being told just move a bit closer to the mic.
Okay. When it comes to cultural considerations, livestock is a total different topic, and I'd like to hear from the Maasai themselves,
yes.
why it's keeping livestock, and I'm not speaking as an authority on this topic, but
yes.
keeping livestock for market has not been an attractive idea to them for
yes.
a while. And
yes.
I'm just saying this out of anecdotal evidence and
yes.
not any scientific review.
Yes.
So those are some of the things that like you need to really get to their heart to really understand why they do their livestock keeping in a certain way.
Yes.
And if you want to improve that, then you need to kind of innovate.
Yes.
So one solution we had in Narok is where we then decided that, okay, or rather, they decided that, okay, we've heard what you said, it's a very good idea to improve our breeds, to get more money, to get more meat, to sell before it gets very old. But Mila, let us keep another herd specifically for breed improvement.
Yes.
And that's within the right.
Inheritance of the car.
It's within the right of the culture,
Yes.
and so that's what we did.
Yes.
And we worked with a number of cooperatives in Narok County, and we were able to see a lot of change with regards to the breed improvement.
What is the uptake now of that getting new breeds? I'm trying to see if we can get Sayanka as well on call. Yes.
Yeah, I wish I came with my colleague Mark from Uldekesi in Narok County,
Yes.
and he was listening. Ole to Suba. So the uptake was great. I don't have figures or numbers, but we found that in the cooperative that we introduced the concept, individual households started buying the improved breed to keep, to a point whereby a good number of them actually bought these heavy-duty bulls.
Okay.
I'm calling them heavy-duty, but
yes.
they're highly improved breeds out of just an introduction in the cooperative. So you'll find, I think around 60-70% of households now in the catchment area that we work in actually have one or two improved breeds in their stock. Yeah.
So as you're talking about this, there's something that we talked with Sayanka. Remember, I think when we visited him, and he doesn't want that nonsense of having 300 cows and he cannot feed them. You know. So let me just try and see if we can be able to get him. Oh, we cannot get him on that number. Let's look for him on another number. But as you're doing this, as you're saying this, there's something that is very critical that you've mentioned. Improving breeds. Do you think that will be matched again with this pasture commercialization? Do you think it would be something that would be a way of actually helping them understand that if you have an improved breed and you have better feeding, you are looking at a better market?
Yeah, that's a message we want to share. And of course, the breed depends on what business you want to do. So if it's milk, that's another breed. If it's meat, another breed. If it's hides and skin, that's another breed. So we will want to explore what are these farmers comfortable with and what ideas they have that we can then incubate as an organization, because we do quite a lot of business incubation. So what idea do we incubate to a point where it's the trajectory of that business or that agribusiness is on an upward trend? So we'll see, we'll learn, and I'm sure we will share more as we continue.
Yes, Sayanka. Morning, how are you? Asante sana. You are live on a Farmers Media. We are with Mika here. And I know I know we've ambushed you. Yes, and we're just talking about the pasture commercialization, and I know this is something that you're very, very passionate about. Yes. And what I wanted to ask you is, why do you think this is important, especially in this day and age, for your age mates? I'm saying, why is this very important for you, especially you and your age mates, to be able to just understand why is this thing that is important when it comes to pasture commercialization?
The reason why this is important is because livestock nowadays is not just for purposes of having them. It is very important to have livestock as a business.
Okay.
So you cannot have livestock as a business when feeds are not when there's no feed for the livestock. So it is very important for us, and mostly the youth nowadays.
Yeah.
They want to do livestock rearing in a modern way.
Okay.
And as a business.
All right.
So for that to be possible, we need to ensure that there is feed available, and in that case, quality feed.
All right.
So commercialization of feed is very important for us because it creates a business.
All right.
And also the opportunity for youth to invest in livestock.
Very interesting. We are seeing a video here that where we visited Lewis. Remember, we visited Lewis. Why do you think it is important right now for us to start sensitizing young farmers, especially young family farms, to be able to take this as an economic activity?
Yes. Most of the youth nowadays, of course, they are not employed.
Yes.
And involving the youth in commercialized pasture production is another revenue stream, and is an opportunity for them to gain meaningful income. So, and especially when we involve them at the family level, we ensure that they are together in that, and of course, it is a sustainable way of investing in livestock.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Sank. I think we'll be having you in the shows. One of the questions that we have been asked is, what is the name of your organization? How can people be able to get in touch with you, especially those ones in Kajiado? Yes.
Yeah, I run an organization called Reto Empowerment Program. Yes, we are based in Diesel. And yes, that's where we have our shop there.
Yes.
Where we sell livestock feed.
Yes.
And in this case, we are selling livestock feed throughout the year. Yes, we don't want to do it like only during the drought, but we want to do it throughout the year.
Thank you very much, Sank. I know it was an ambush, but we'll be having you in studio more. Thank you very much, and have a brilliant day.
Thank you.
Great. So you've had that is Sayan Kantore, who runs an organization called Reto Empowerment Program out of Kajiado County. Very passionate. I know you've met him as well. And we have seen, and this is what I really loved about the whole idea of having the locals taking charge of this. we are the locals. We are the farmers in Kajiado. Yes, wenyeji. You know, so those who are joining us, just let us know how this is important for you, especially as we get to understand much more about what is pasture commercialization. I know it is a heavy topic. It took me some time to understand. I was only interested. The first thing is that I was interested in that I can grow pasture and sell the way I see all those trucks. But slowly I understood that it's more than just selling. It is more about demand, supply. And we are joined now by the County Director of Livestock. He'll introduce himself in a few minutes. Yes, Eric, karibu sana. Just move close to the mic. Yes. Yep. Now tell us more about yourself, and then talk about this program. I know we are short of time. Yes. I just told to turn the seat a bit. Yes.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Eric Ahenda, and the Director Livestock Production in Kajiado County.
Brilliant. So Eric, we're going to dive into the deep end directly. Why is this? You talk about this so passionately. Why is this important? Pasture commercialization.
First of all, one thing that we have to agree is that the major livelihood in Kajiado County is livestock production. And more so, in addition to that, I would say that if you look at Kajiado County, over 80% of the land mass is under.
Just move a bit closer to the mic.
Is under. We can refer to it as a semi-arid area, and this is dominated by pastoral production system.
Yes.
And in any livestock production system, the feed component is usually more important. And looking at what has been happening, we have been experiencing in Kajiado County, our animals are migrating in search of pastures. It means that we have a deficit of livestock feed in Kajiado.
All right.
And therefore, that is an area that needs to be looked into and more attention given, so that we can ensure that we are secure in terms of livestock feed.
You have seen, and we were actually discussing with Mika earlier, the challenges that we have seen. Number one for you as the county director of livestock, promotion country director. Iko inakuja now. The farmers, we normally don't call them, refer to them as farmers, but they are farmers, have lost entire livelihoods. How long will it take for them to recover?
You know, the duration it takes for recovery will depend on how the weather outlook from now. And as we are talking, the next rains that we are expecting will be in around March, April there, and there will be the determinants to see whether the livestock keepers are going to recover or if the conditions will persist. But what needs to happen is that even as we wait for those for the rains, the contingency measures needs to be put in place, and this calls for. We have been trying to supplement, although it is not enough. You know, it is a very expensive exercise.
Yes.
And therefore, we are left to see how the weather will behave. Come the month of March.
So what we are saying is we are not going to rely on the rain anymore. We want to see, instead of us growing cabbages, I'm not saying stop growing cabbages. Instead of growing cabbages, can we grow pasture that has ready market? Can we comfortably say that if I grow pasture and package it well, Mika comes in with a business angle of how I can convert that farm into a business, then not automatically, but there'll be ready market.
In the past, pastures, the market for pasture was a bit. It was. I'll say it was
non-existent.
It was not existing. Eh?
Yes.
And this was because the production attributed the production system being practiced. No, this pastoralism, where they were practicing free grazing.
Okay.
So we never expected anybody to engage in a commercialized pasture production. But there were still some people who were doing it. But as time goes by, it has been seen that the demand for livestock feed keeps on rising.
Okay.
And the best example I can give is that due to during the drought situations, we see businessmen bringing in some even crop residues to be used as livestock feed.
Yes.
That tells something.
Yes.
That the demand for pastures, the demand for fodder, the demand for any kind of material that can be used as livestock feed is on the rise.
So what do you see as the main, I mean, the importance of actually this activity, having you as a county in this program? Because one of the challenges that we see, especially when it comes to extension services, and is that there's always commercialization of extension services. I sell fertilizer, I offer you agronomic support, but in essence, I'm just marketing my product. Why is it important for farmers to embrace the county government, especially when it comes to extension services?
First of all, I would like to say that extension services has not been commercialized. It is the sole mandate of the department to offer extension services in the county. So extension services are free.
Okay.
But you'll find that yes, what you're saying is true. Some entities will come to market their products.
Yes.
And in addition to that, they'll offer some extension services. But it is good to let people know that the department is a responsibility. It is the department's responsibility and mandate to offer extension services.
Okay.
Yes.
So I know time is against us, but I just have a few more questions for both of you. Mika, what are you looking for? Which kind of farmer should be part of this, especially the pilot stage? What is this profile of this farmer who looks like? I mean, we're having some seeds. I know Director Tashanga Mbona sijapanda niko nazo hapa. But what is it? Who is this farmer that you're looking for to be part of this initial?
I emphasized and I started by saying like the willingness and that attitude first to engage in this business would be key. So it's important that even as you plan to register as a potential farmer, have that soul search and actually make sure you commit to this. It's not an easy venture, and therefore you have to have the heart to it and don't look at it as an NGO project. That would be number one for me, the attitude. Number two, we're looking for farmers who are willing to commit some, if not most, of their land. The county has a lot of needs with regards to pasture. So the more land we can get, the better. And the more somebody can commit his or our own lands to this venture, we're talking about pasture only, but it's really livestock feed. Whoever can really commit their land to that would be highly encouraged to just fill the screening form so that we organize visits for recruitment.
Okay.
Of course, it would be good if we have other infrastructure such as water, storage, among other things, but that will not kick you out of the project. We'll do our visits and do our assessment. If you're registered as a group, well and good. If you're an individual farmer, that's well and good. But we will try and encourage you, or we will try and talk to you to support a few groups within your area as a lead or anchor farmer. I think that's it.
On that point, we also operate in communities. Again, if you would get a community and they come together and say we have 10 acres, but each of us has 1 acre, is that something that you'd be able to consider?
Yes.
Okay. If you have a farmer who says, again, I think thank you for that. I want to now go into the technical bit, Eric.
Maybe just one more thing.
Yes.
That I really need to emphasize is what Sayanka was talking about, youth employment. This project is really keen to get a lot of youth in the livestock value chain as a start, and if other value chains make sense within the pilot project, then we will also explore that.
Fantastic. And I know that you're also very interested in seeing how the gender aspect
Yes,
is coming
yes,
in,
yes,
especially the
yes.
women, the
Yeah.
young. I mean, like the ones we met in. Lewis's wife.
Lewis's wife
We
and
met the other lady in
Maltesa,
Maltesa.
yeah.
As well, very passionate about making sure that this is not only another economic activity, but it's a livelihood activity. So, Eric, on the technical bit, how much land? I mean, the land that we're going to use. How frequent will that crop be on the farm? For example, sugar grade, we have NutriFeed. We know that there are some that you cut and continue growing. What aspects of is it important to do a soil test? Is it important to add manure, fertilizer? Because some of these questions that farmers will be asking. I have this. We have seen some who are saying they're really interested in this. They're in Kajiado County. What are the technicalities of saying I'm going to dedicate 2 acres for this?
First of all, before I answer your question,
Mhm.
I will like to talk a bit about the advantages of
Oh yes.
of engaging in this.
Mhm.
And I will say that Kajiado as a county, the livestock keepers, especially during drought situations, have been depending on livestock feed from other counties. And this comes with challenges. There are challenges of quality. You're not sure how this the pastures or the hay was grown. We also have challenges whereby you find that some of this stuff will come and harbor some pests like the ticks, and this also have negative impacts to our livestock because they aid in spreading the pests and even livestock diseases. And I will say that the advantage of producing our own is that we'll be sure of the quality because we have the technical officers who will be supervising the production and also offering extension services. It is a source of employment, especially to our youth and even women who can engage comfortably in pasture production. And therefore, you'll find that the livestock keeper have most of benefits producing their own. And it is a domain which is not preserved for the livestock keepers only. You can even grow fodder even if you don't have any animal. It is a livelihood on its own. Okay, you grow it for sale.
It's a business.
And that is where now the commercialization component comes in. You are growing for sale to others. And you see, even a livestock keeper who is also producing the pasture or fodder, he may produce and have some surplus which he may offload to the market. Still, the commercialization aspect of it is coming out. Now, to come to your question, it is important to undertake a soil test because in as much as we say that most of our land are still virgin and they are productive anyway.
Yes.
But you'll find that there are some areas whereby the land has been utilized and the nutrients are low.
Yes.
And there are some farmers who have always attested to the fact that they are trying to produce the pastures or the fodder in their plots, but the productivity seems to be coming down.
All right.
That is an aspect that needs to be looked at, and it calls for soil testing so that you know what kind of inputs you are going to use during the production of this fodder.
So technically what you're saying is that it is an agricultural activity.
Yes.
It is actually an agribusiness activity.
Yes.
Because it's ready, it's demand and supply. Because it's something that you don't have to transport cabbages from here to Marikiti. It is actually, you grow in probably in Ngatatek and sell in Ngatatek town. So one of the things that I wanted to find out is, Eric, you've seen the age group of farmers. How can we be able to sensitize the younger generation to be able to take this up? One of the guys that is very interested, who will actually be joining us later on today, is called Titus. Titus is the one who's going to manage the what part of the project that we're going to be doing at the farm there. And when I was talking to him about this yesterday, he started crying. And I asked him, what's wrong? He's like, he has not had such good news for a very long time. Because his father lost 72 cows. And they did not know what to do. And the challenge is that some of the animal feeds that they actually bought, silage, you're very specific on silage, that came is what really affected the extra even losses, because the quality was bad. As you mentioned, they were saying that some of even the animal feed even had pests, you know. So this is something that I can say is very passionate. What are your last words as we close? I know we are tight on time. What are your last words? That camera, look at the camera. Talk to the farmers.
Yeah, I'm really, I feel very privileged to be here and happy to connect with you farmers, wherever you are. We are here to serve you and we're here to grow and learn what you want with regards to enhancing your livelihoods from an agribusiness perspective. Thank you.
Eric, same camera.
Yeah, I will say that as a parting shot, this comes just at the right time when it finds Kajiado County suffering because of the drought. And I'll urge the farmers to embrace this. And since it is just a project that is beginning, it may not reach every part of the county. But I'm urging the rest, even if this project does not reach where you are, we are still urging you to paddock, fence your area, do some pasture conservation to be utilized, to be used during a situation like this. And as they plan to do that, I'm also emphasizing on the need to use our extension officers at the field because they are there to serve them.
Fantastic.
Yeah, thank you.
How do we get the extension services?
Just
Which telephone number? You know, Kenya believe in calling.
what I will say is
Yes.
kindly visit the nearest livestock office.
Okay.
You'll always get assistance from there.
Very interesting. In fact, I was told the other day, I was stopped by police and I asked them, what is this tractor doing in the police station? They told us, in fact, all this land is for agriculture, livestock office. So as you've heard, this is not just a livelihood, this is a business venture. Think about it. The advantage that we have is that we have Action Africa Help International, who will be able to, part of the package is to be able to help us understand how can we be able to transform our farms into a business. That is the language of a farmers media, where we help you connect, learn and grow. Remember to connect with us all the time, every morning, 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock here on a Farmers Breakfast Show. Remember to also log in to Zeno, our radio channel, which you can be able to listen to us throughout the day. This has been a very interesting, informative, and a really educative show that we've had about pasture commercialization. In my previous years, I never thought I would talk about pasture commercialization, but I am deep in it. Remember that there's a lot of support coming, especially in this part of the country, in Kajiado County, ready market for pasture. Make sure that you connect with us. Remember the telephone number that you can be able to call is 0738 444422 to be able to get Action Africa Help International, more information. If you'd like to contact us directly as a Farmers Media, who will also being partners, call us on 0700293031. Have a brilliant day. This was a Farmers Breakfast Show.
Good evening, my name is Charity and this is a Farmers Media, the best media in East Africa and of course the whole world. And today we have a guest. She may introduce herself.
Okay, good afternoon. My name is Victoria Ndenya, the Acting County Director of Agriculture.
From the county level, what plans do the county have for the farmers and for the farmers in this county?
Okay, one, the county government, as far as agriculture production is concerned, we have basically been relying on rain-fed agriculture, but now we are advising our farmers to embrace irrigation so that they can be able to improve their production and also not only improving but also being assured of getting produce out of whatever they grow.
And by any chance, is the government supporting any form of irrigation?
Okay,
What are the policies? What are the policies that are going to be used in this pasture project?
okay, the county government already developed rainwater harvesting policy, and which has been enacted. And we believe that if every farmer will do some kind of rainwater harvesting, then we will be able to get enough water, which can be also be used to grow pastures and also for the food.
With your position now in the county, what are your plans to improve the pasture production?
Okay, for the pasture production at the county level, we are training the farmers so that first they know the importance of producing pasture and also conserving the pasture so that they can use it during times of scarcity. And then where there is no enough water, we tell them to supplement through irrigation. And again, in the rangelands, we can also do some soil and water harvesting conservation measures so that we are able to sustain the growth of the pastures in the rangelands.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much for joining us today. We are so grateful that you've taken your time to be with us. And for more interviews and shows, you can follow us on all social media platforms. We go by Farmers Media, and you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, Farmers Media. Thank you.